Hi, my name is Zach. This is Josh, and welcome to the Broken Spectrum. Today we're going to be talking about just about anything. This is episode 0 of our new podcast. Josh, why don't you say hey?
What's up, guys? Just full disclosure, we don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Not at all. This is going to be the first time we ever tried this, but hey, you never know what's going to happen out of nothing, right?
Right. Well, there's like a bunch of podcast successes. There's too many, and maybe this is a bad example because you have like Joe Rogan who
is successful.
He's successful, but also like previously successful. And there's a lot of guys getting in this space. Kevin Smith, background as a director. We don't have that background. But what we do have is a bunch of disgruntled sadness with our current jobs as former and not former college students.
A lot of sadness.
But we're also at heart like nerds. And it's time to come out the closet, boys. So, not that anybody is really... Well, if you are a closet nerd, it's your duty to just be open about it.
You got to be open about it, because what's the point in having a whole life if you can't have fun with it, with what you're passionate about?
Yeah, I mean, like, we have people who, like, really love Disney and go and expect Disneyland to be exactly like it was.
And for most people, they see that, but for others, it's like a glorified money hog. Where it's like all their money goes to that. It's for the expensive rich people.
I'm of that camp, but
I'm of the other. But
like if that's someone's dream and they look at Disneyland amazingly as, they think that they're living the Little Mermaid being there. Is that a thing there? I don't remember.
Yeah, they have an actress that comes out and they play as the princess. Obviously, they're not gonna have a fishtail.
So they don't have. Wait, hold up. But they don't have. I went to full disclosure. He just recently brought me to Disneyland like a year ago.
Disney World, Disneyland's in California.
Like I said, I'm a newbie.
A little bit.
That's fine. I don't got $100 fucking for God damn it, Walt Disney. No, but no, yeah. So like, so I don't know, but for reference, so there's I don't remember. Was there like a C half of Disney World? I know there was like.
There's a depending on what park you go to. If you're going to the Magic Kingdom, which is their main park, you're looking at going to the Fantasy World where all the princesses are, and that's where most of them will make a scene. But they're going to be in their princess gowns and all that for all the little girls and whatnot. If you went to a place like Epcot.
Just kidding.
If you went to a place like Epcot, on the other hand, you'd have a section called the Seas, which you would find Nemo and stuff like that. So there's not really much room for a princess to be over there, which is ironic, but that's more of your scientific learning at that point.
Okay, well, nonetheless, though, like, a lot of people enjoy that, and so, like, if we have crazy Disney people in this world, it's okay to be a crazy Marvel person, DC person.
Absolutely. It's going to be crazy anything. Just don't take it to the point where you're insulting others and judging them on their choices.
Sorry.
Which Josh likes to do a lot with me when it comes to Marvel characters. Just give you an idea, just to let everybody know, I am a massive, massive Iron Man, Tony Stark fan. And believe me, I know that not everyone's a fan of the movie Iron Man, but he does have his awesome moments in the movie. I love him for that. And honestly, for comic book version and anything in between, I find him to just be a fascinating character. But mostly because I like the suit of armor. I think that's cool as shit. But on the other hand, you have others who may disagree and have flaw with him.
He doesn't. Okay. All right. All right. I mean, okay. So I know. Spoiler alert. Endgame. Tony passes, and it's unfortunate, and I felt bad.
It was tragic.
But it took him to die to learn. Like he. I have issue. I was an Iron Man fan. I'm still an Iron Man fan. Comic book Iron Man fan. I love him. But Robert Downey Jr. came on the scene. Fantastic actor. Iron Man 1, glorious. Iron Man 2,
beautiful. Character
development is good.
Absolutely.
But Avengers and Post and whatever, he just did not he never learned. He never learned from his mistakes.
By the way,
It's frustrating.
we don't talk about Iron Man 3. We don't talk about it.
I like Iron Man 3.
No, see, here's the thing about Iron Man 3. This is the part that gets everybody, is that it's cool when you see the other armors, and I agree. Silver Centurion for the win, by the way. But it's when it's how you introduced Extremis and AIM, for that matter.
Yeah.
That's where you lose me.
That was a colossal misstep to introduce these giant things in the comic books. I mean, Extremis that's such a game changer for Tony in the comics, and then AIM is a massive foundation. They make MODOK, they tormented the Hulk. They're always getting the dumb stuff and messing people up. But then they just made him so minuscule, so small, and Iron Man was not a good intro. And then the 10 rings and freaking the Mandarin, like, interesting concept. I like Shane Black as a director. I mean, he did so much. I'm pretty sure he wrote Predator, like.
Which was a great.
Like he wrote that Predator. Like, I mean, that's such a good.
It was a great movie.
But like this movie, like I feel like Shane Black is a good director, but doesn't understand comic book movies. Which is I've heard that critique before. # Weekly Planet. Love you, Mr. Sunday. Love you, James. Love you, Nick Mason. But then they made that point that Shane Black is a typically good director who just does not. I guess he just doesn't understand comics enough.
Well, this is to be fair. Like, I think most people that they get, maybe not most, but a good majority of them who come into Hollywood don't really have a understanding of the geek culture when it comes to making these movies. I mean, some of them hit it on the nail, and some of you guys out there may agree with us or agree with me on that point. That some of them they nail it. They got it down packed. I mean, when it came to when you first had me watch the Watchmen, I've never read the graphic novel or the comics for that matter, but from what I've seen, just by doing little brief looks at it, it follows it to the T, and it's amazing. It's outstanding.
Well, yeah. So there is controversy surrounding that. A lot of people don't like it. Don't like the movie adaptation because there's changes to it that I did not disclose to you immediately. And so don't look if we're gonna get lambasted over the Watchmen, like I don't have time for that. But because and neither does Zach because he hasn't read the book, and unfortunately I'm his source of Alan Moore, and that's fine. But there's a big difference in that where in the movie they pin Dr. Manhattan. The whole plan is Ozymandias pins Dr. Manhattan for the explosions in New York and Moscow and all that stuff. Where in the book, Ozymandias makes like a giant alien squid monster using Dr. Manhattan's as fuel to some extent because he was sending him like a giant generator or something like that because Dr. Manhattan thought he was making like renewable fuel, I think. Yeah. And so, long story short, they made a giant squid monster that blew up only New York, and then that's how the Russians and the United States kind of came together and were like, oh, there's a giant alien and he blew up New York. Maybe we should stop the arms race and focus on fighting aliens. But anyway, so there's like a lot of stuff like that. There's also like a comic within a comic thing in the book. It's a very intricate book. But I you know what, I'm gonna get crap for this too. I think it's a better plot point to make Dr. Manhattan the villain or the scapegoat for Ozymandias because he was kind of already on the scene, you know, plot wise. Like everyone knew who Dr. Manhattan was.
Right. It's easier to kind of get the correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like wouldn't it be easier to have the hero that everyone knows fall from grace versus the person that doesn't. Yeah. Is not on the scene very often.
Yeah, and I think that's a very interesting dynamic. Before we get too far into this, though, because we can literally do a whole episode.
We really could, honestly.
Alan Moore is very interesting in that, like, he has these fantastic pieces of fiction, and then after like one bad movie, which understandably was bad, like he just hates when cinema adapts his stuff. And so, for those of you who don't know, Alan Moore is responsible for Watchmen, V for Vendetta, Run of the Swamp Thing. He really helped create John Constantine. Actually, I think he did create John Constantine as a side character in the Swamp Thing run. And so he has these very, very interesting stories and stuff like that. But anyways, that's not important. We'll do a whole episode of that because he's super interesting.
We can definitely delve into a lot of things.
Also, like really weird.
But back on your topic of kind of going into like the Disney aspect, because pretty much a lot of our topics are Disney owned. Ironically, by the way, we're not being sponsored by Disney, I promise, unless they want to. But in any case,
well, you just shut down the window for me to make my broad Disney insult, but that's okay. Well, excuse our call, people.
Sorry about that.
We're green as grass. It's okay. But
but no, with the with Vatic, oh Lord, how do I say this? But with Disney as kind of being the starting topic right now, another lovely thing owned besides Marvel, and DC's not a part of that universe, which I know we slipped into just then, but also Star Wars, another massive universe, which a lot of you out there who love Star Wars for what it is and continue to love it for what it is.
You boys better get ready for Star Wars stuff because we are both.
We're gonna hit that. We're gonna hit that topic very hard. We're gonna cover the eras of the old Republic. We're gonna cover the eras of post Empire. We're gonna cover everything in between. Maybe not every time, maybe not every day or every episode, but you may hear us reference it once or twice, but when we talk about it, you'll know.
Yeah, you'll. I mean, you can't dodge it either. I mean,
no, absolutely
since Disney acquired it, they saw this cash cow and made 3 more movies plus the side movies.
Which, by the way,
and there's just more rolling out.
Yes.
So as they're rolling out, guess what? This topic's rolling out.
And whether you're a fan of Disney and their changes, or you hate them for bastardizing what you loved growing up on. Remember this, Star Wars will always remain Star Wars, no matter whose hands is it in. And a lot of people will disagree with me on that statement as per usual, but the thing is, like, we know we can all come together in the things that we love and the things that we care about. So when it comes to Star Wars, that's a universe that's built on, how do I say this? What's the word I'm thinking of? It's built on hope and imagination. And I know that's kind of cliche to say, but it really is. It's always thinking about the next big thing. What's the next thing in the galaxy? Who's the next big villain? What's the next conflict we're going to see? And what's even the next dynamic we're going to see for our characters? Yeah,
I mean, it's quite literally, it's categorized as a space opera, but it really is, but it's this giant space fantasy. It's I think it's very unique. I don't want to beat this Star Wars topic to death, but I mean, like, as most of you people listening probably obviously know, I mean, like, it's just so, you have like space mysticism and with the Force and stuff like that, along with the crazy, like, world building of, these giant, this empire and the ships and all the militaries and even the prequels went into like the politics and stuff and how crap got wrong and just all of that. I mean, it's so vast, and then, but then you take in, for instance, like Blade Runner, which is
great
favorite. Oh my
great
God.
Movie.
Love Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. But those movies, there's a lot of world building that is under the table, and so you're just kind of thrown into this crazy world. But there's not really a fantasy element in that. It's like a deep cyberpunk grittiness going on with that whole thing. I mean, so it's maybe I'm comparing apples to oranges, but I mean, like, Star Wars is just so different. I mean, understandably, I mean, like,
which I know by the way, if anyone's out there a Star Trek fan, which I'm sure many of you are, and some of you may even be both. But the only reason I bring up Star Trek is because we know, if you've ever seen a Star Trek episode, you know that it's a series of episodes that builds on its characters and their adventures and what happens to them in the Federation and more so throughout the galaxy and throughout the universe. That's really cool. And a buddy of mine has even has got me to watch The Next Generation. I'm not a huge Star Trek fan, but I did quite enjoy many of the episodes from Next Generation. But I'm a Star Wars fan true and true, and I feel like there's so much that's not talked about in movies that you can find in comic books and graphic novels and even in the lore when you look it up, or even in the video games as well. A lot in the video games. And I'm looking at you, Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 for the Xbox. But
Game of Thrones people, if you are listening, I did not watch Game of Thrones.
For
my fans who are listening that I don't have, the fans that I don't have, for the people that are listening, if you're upset with that statement, I apologize, but I'm not really sorry because it's a hard watch for me. I got into it too late. Jon Snow's a cool name and cool looking dude,
but he's not no Keanu Reeves.
Dude, fucking Keanu's so good.
And we can all agree that Keanu is a treasure to behold and to be protected on Earth.
National treasure, Keanu. Please send me one of your arch motorcycles. My Harley's not doing it anymore. I want to meet. That's fine. You'll never hear me, Keanu.
Before Josh goes on a whole worship session over Keanu, these are just some of the topics and the kind of discussions we'll have here on the Broken Spectrum, along with covering video games, collectibles, toys, movies, TV shows. We're going to cover a wide spectrum of things. See what I did there? And we'll see where this goes, and we'll see where the conversation goes.
Such a shameless plug. That's so trash.
You'll discover that I am quite the pun-ster. I'm not going to call it a pun master, but you'll see it, and Josh will lay his head down in disappointment at my attempt at humor. His silence speaks all, as you can tell.
Guys, so his puns sometimes hit it.
But others missed their mark, but I still laugh.
They're just so... It's the 8th deadly sin now. I can't stand him, man.
What's sad is that he's not the first person to say the 8th sin. Either.
I'm really not.
You're really not.
Who else has said that?
A lot of people on online.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, dang.
It's okay.
By the way, for any gamers,
we still love him.
By the way, for any gamers fans out there, anyone who play, there should be everyone out here. If you play video games, I am not a PC gamer. I'm so sorry, PC Master Race, as you call yourselves. I
will never bow down to you. I will not duck walk to your stupid keyboard and mouse. You don't even have a fucking trigger.
As you can tell,
you don't have a trigger. Why do you put first-person shooter is so easy?
As you can tell,
on the computer. Sorry, I'm getting mad.
Just a little bit. Calm down. No, as you can tell,
there's no trigger. You can't click people to death.
As you can tell, we are console gamers. I am on the Xbox. I only play single-player PlayStation 4 games because I do realize there are some games that PlayStation have that's unfairly and unjustly on their console that should be shared with the Xbox. But that's none of my business. Yeah. I'm sorry, Sony believers. But I will stay true to my Xbox beliefs.
So Sony believers, since Marvel really likes to partner with them so hard, is that like, are we branching that? So there's like stay firm, true believers, Stan Lee nonsense or whatever. So if they're Sony believers, does that mean they're like a double? It's like a double right there. So if we call them Sony believers, they're both Marvel and Sony. Are we making that?
I mean, yeah,
it's official now. All you Sony bitches are now also Marvel
as he just ruined that group, and
it's okay. So me. And
disclaimer: if we insult you, what you believe in, what you like, what you're passionate about, just remember that you too
can insult us via social media
or start your own podcast and and vice versa.
Right? Yeah, but no, all in fun. We all love you guys. Do whatever the fuck you want. But
also, we may even while talking here on the Broken Spectrum about different categories and different things that we find passionate about, we may even slip into some of our real life stories every now and then to just discuss which a lot of you can cheerful on this one, but how shit your job is or how awful it is. But it's okay because we're here to discuss. We are here to discuss the subtle nuances and overbearing ridiculousness that comes with the job. And that's what we're here for. And that's just a fraction of real life stuff that we can talk about on that may slip in or be intentional during our discussions.
Right. So, do you want to wrap this up for episode 0?
So that'll be it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for indulging us in these past 20 minutes.
Yeah, we promised to bring content that is substantially longer, but for our episode 0, bear with us. This is
Our first attempt.
Yeah, it's our first attempt, but it's also non-topical, and so we don't have a whole bunch of ammo on how pathetic our lives are. Just kidding, we do, but we're afraid to share. But just to be mindful, of our stuff coming out. Who is our current podcast homie, and who's our helper right now? Who's helping us get out there? What is our dude's YouTube channel, if you will remind us?
He is...
As we frantically find a phone.
By the way, we are going to edit this, I promise you that much, but some of the stuff we are going...
Just leave it free form.
Yeah, really.
So much better.
Yeah, we're going to leave it free form just because we want to make sure we look back on this day and hang our heads at what used to be, and we will get progressively better, we promise. As far as...
Jesus, we are such a shit plug. Yeah, let's plug in our homie who's going to start helping us plug our podcast everywhere on his website. Let's just not remember his freaking his channel name. God dang it.
He's a...
Frantic scrolling.
Oh, here we go. Okay, I found it. I'm so sorry. All right, so our buddy who's also helping us on this podcast is his YouTube channel is TCC Emerald. He's only got one video, unfortunately, but the man is a master wizard at a lot of things, both on the computer, software, so on and so forth. If you want to check him out, he's also on Twitch as well, at TCC Emerald on Twitch. He does a lot of Apex Legends playthroughs, and he's getting into the whole YouTube scene and the Twitch scene as well. So if you want to check him out, he's really good. I promise you, I'm not going to send you on a wild goose chase and not just hype up my buddy. He is very good. I've seen what he can accomplish, and he will be helping us out, maybe make an appearance once or twice if we convince him to to show up. But we want to thank you all for joining us. Stay tuned for more content. Promise, like Josh said, we will have longer episodes on more specific topics, but we want to give you just a little bit of a taste at what's to come.
And please start following us. If I could sound any more desperate, I'm on Xbox as Discount Outlaw. I'm on PlayStation as Discount Outlaw, so you can friend me, we can play games, whatever. Follow me on Instagram. That is also Discount Outlaw. It is all motorcycle photos right now, but then we're going to start plugging in our Instagram for this channel. Excuse me, this is not a channel podcast, whatever. Maybe we'll have a YouTube channel. Maybe it'll happen. But, yeah, so just follow me on that. Throw me questions, comments, whatever. Make fun of my motorcycles. And just be on the lookout for this next set of spicy content coming your fucking way. It's going to be delicious.
It will be. It sure will be. Very delightful. And thank you for closing that out in such a wonderful manner.
Sultry.
Well, thank you, everybody. And remember, keep positive, keep an open mind.
And don't sue people.
And
Bye.
Bye.